Establishing a good bow hold is one of the most important things you can do to prepare yourself for a successful cello playing future. So I want to talk about a couple of ways that I set my students' bow holds up. But before we even get there, I'd like you to recruit a friend or a parent or a spouse to help you with just a couple of relaxation exercises for your bow hand. Okay? And the most important one being just put your bow arm rested on your knee and have someone else pick it up and then drop it. And ideally what we should see is that it really drops, thanks to gravity, and that you are not either holding it there, if you see this happening, well then you're definitely not as relaxed as you could be. Or if you're pulling it down to your leg, and ouch, I actually just kind of hurt myself. Okay, so the idea is to use no muscles and let it fall just thanks to gravity. Right? Okay, so that ensures that we're not doing too much holding in here, which is an important aspect of this bow hold setup. You might also try something like have a friend or whoever hold your bow up here, and then you're going to just lie your fingers over the top and hang there. Okay, and again, we're feeling that those muscles are loose and movable. Your friend can move the bow around. See if you kind of go along. I'm really not doing a good job of doing this by myself. But if you feel like you are doing nothing and you are just at the whim of the moving bow, then you're probably doing it right. Okay, so those are just a couple ways to start getting yourself in that loose, relaxed bow hold mode. Okay? Now, I'm going to come for the close-up so I can show you exactly how I set the bow hold up. Okay, so in setting up the bow hold, way number one that I do this is I take a hand position that is pretty much what my hand would be doing if I were walking down the street. If it would just lying by my side, my fingers would look something like that, just hanging there. Okay? And then I line my middle finger up, the pad of my middle finger. I line that up with this silver thing on the bow, which is called the ferrule. So from my hanging fingers, I'll just bring the bow in there, and actually I would probably prefer that someone else do this for me. So if you have a friend, they might be able to help you with this. And wherever the rest of the fingers fall is probably a good place for them to be. So my fingers were hanging. I lined up with the ferrule on the center of my middle finger, the middle of the pad, and then I just bring my thumb in to be gently resting right, can you see it? It is right where the black and the brown part of the bow come together. I'm going to be on the side of my bow there. I'm not poking through the hole in any way. I'm not coming at it from below. I'm just gently, gently touching the side of the bow. And as you can see, that middle finger was touching the ferrule right about in the middle of the pad. Okay? So let me show you that way once again. I was just hanging there. And I will point out, my elbow is up a little bit because otherwise the angle of my fingers will be a little off. So I've got my elbow up a little bit. Bring the bow in. My fingers have done pretty much nothing so far. They're still just hanging there. All right. Oops, sorry. I'm getting too involved. Okay. So fingers doing nothing. Bow comes to meet them. And then thumb comes to touch the side where the brown and the black part meet. Okay. And that's it. That's a pretty nice bow hold right there. I could put it down on the string. Ta-da. I'm ready to go. All right, so way number two that I do this with students is I have them lay their hand out pretty much flat this way, but again, with their fingers just as they naturally fall. They don't have to spread their fingers out on purpose. They're just letting their fingers go where they go. Then, from above, I set the bow down on the fingers. So again, I've lined it up so that middle finger is with the ferrule. Then I bring the bow to the thumb. And ta-da, lovely bow hold. Okay, so I want to point out that when I was here, I did not bring the thumb to the bow because that makes my wrist do all sorts of strange things. Okay, rather, I brought the bow to the thumb. Okay, so when you've got this bow hold established, and you go ahead and put it vertical, you want to check and make sure that someone could take your bow away from you with absolutely no effort. If they have to struggle to get it out of your hand, well, then you're squeezing a little too hard. Okay? It should just slide right right out of your hand, that's the right amount of holding to be doing. We can also check with your thumb. There's this thing I've seen people do with pretending it's a doorbell, which I think is pretty cool. You just go ding dong, ding dong, and it just kind of pops right back out, which is really fun. So if your thumb doesn't pop right back out, ding, well now I must be squeezing a little in there somewhere, okay? And that is not a pretty thumb to see on a bow hold. So we want it to just be gently curved, kind of again, as it would be if you were walking down the street. My thumb, that's what it does naturally. It does not sit there like that all day. So same thing with on the bow, right? Gently on the side of the stick, thumb, got a little bend in it, and it pops right back out if I push on it. Can slip that bow out of my hand. So there's really no squeezing going on here at all. One other thing I wanted to point out is where the pinky is. Now, of course, pinkies are many different heights, but the pinky is probably going to be toward the top end of the frog, okay? You don't want to see it slipping down. If it's slipping down, that might be an indication that your elbow is not correctly positioned, okay? So I've been leaning toward actually putting my students' pinkies up on the top of the stick because I think that helps strengthen it and also prevent this kind of slippage. This is, of course, how violinists play with their pinky on top of the stick. Ours should be, what most cellists do is have their pinky nearly up there, but not quite. Okay, so definitely not falling down here or anything like that. You just got it resting lightly on the side or even perhaps on top, especially if you find that you are subject to collapse. All right? And there should be some space in there. So we're not going to be, squeezing in there in any way. That little open passageway that something could pass through. You can, in fact, do a pencil test. Here we go. On your marks, get set. There. Open. Very nice. All right, so that is the bow hold. You can set it up either this way, or really there are a number of different ways. But you want to go for that position where your fingers can be where they naturally want to go, rather than manipulating it around much at all. Okay? Line it up with the middle finger, bring the thumb in, and the rest can just drape gently over the stick. I hope that's helpful.